Hi everyone, my name is John Vieira. I'm a fifth year co-op student here in the Faculty of Forestry, and today I'm going to talk to you about my latest co-op term with Van Arbor Design, and I'll just go through a little bit of what I did this past summer. So before I get into it, I want to talk to you about what I did in my previous co-op terms. Well, before I came to university, I was a forest technician, and I ran around the woods hanging ribbon and getting chased by bears. My first co-op term was with Western Forest Products, and this is where I was a quality control student, and I did a lot of size checks and that sort of stuff. My third and second co-op terms, I was with Pinnacle Renewable Energy. Here I was working with the operations office, and I was going out to different operations throughout the company. My fourth co-op term was with Okayama University. Here I was an ad hoc consultant for the co-op program they wanted to start similar to this program. And finally, my co-op term with Van Arbor. So an introduction about the company. Van Arbor is a pretty small company. It's about 13 people in total, 3 people in the office, so a very close-knit working environment. And with this employee base, they're able to serve the Greater Vancouver area from about outside of the Fraser Valley all the way up to Whistler. And they work really closely with architects, interior designers, and contractors to build these like really intricate spaces, like this kitchen and this custom corner cabinet. So the whole project, or my whole extent of my work term, was focused on establishing a new pricing system for the company. Before, there's just a mess of different pricing formulas put together. As you can see, there's a whole pile of paperwork that I had to go through, and then there's the digital copies of this paperwork. So I had to first understand these pricing procedures and then build up like what are the quotation processes and understand this. With this, I could develop a good set of necessities and what the new program needed, so I can implement it in the new program that I'm building. So to further go into this pricing system, I had to define all the different combinations of products. If you know the cabinet industry, you could have, say, a base cabinet, and it can be made from a variety of different panel products. And then you have to think about the construction processes, what paints and what varnishes, that sort of stuff. So you have to go through all those combinations and permutations and figure out what is applicable to the company. Then I had to go into the shop and make time studies and conduct time studies. And this would be later used as a time value within the system. And then finally, a good majority of my summer was building VBA codework, and this was to take all this data and implement it into the new pricing system. And you can see a small snippet of the data over there, but I'm sure you've seen data before like that. So a big part of my pricing system was to make this thing user-friendly. As you can see on the screen, I've got a few user forms here. I had to build these within Excel VBA. So I had one where you can enter all the time values, another one to enter in different markup rates, tax rates, crating fees, shipping fees, and finally I had one where it was an exchange rate. So if we had suppliers down from the US, we could apply those prices into the Canadian prices. So just a few of the user forms that I created over the summer. And all of this work culminated into one worksheet, which is the quote sheet. So in a sense, the person working on this system would use this sheet, and they would first choose the type of cabinet they want to work with. Then they would choose the materials. In this case, it's pre-finished birch. And finally, the different finish you want to put on that cabinet. And then finally, after hitting that blue button in the top corner, you're spit out with a price that could be used in quotations and that sort of thing. On top of building up this pricing system, I also had to make supporting documents such as like an introductory book and a formula book. And this just helps anyone who's new to the system use it, and they're not just left with like, oh, how do we use this brand new computer model if we don't have the instruction manual? So it's just a good supporting document. And then in my final few weeks of my co-op term, I was working with a model and all the new users in the company, and just getting them to use it, see where there are potential issues or bugs that I had to fix. And it was being like an iterative process until it was kind of good enough for daily use. And another thing I added on was this table showing off the different prices for the rooms and the rows, and prices for columns of the different product types. So it kind of gives you a good cost breakdown of what you're paying for in a project like this. And there's a bigger blow up of it. So this project, it allowed for more consistent pricing regardless of who was doing this quotation. It's quite a bit easier, and it's a lot harder if you have two different people pricing a similar job. You can get kind of inconsistencies. The readability of quotation sheets is better. You could have just even clients just looking into their budget and just pinpointing exactly what they want to pay for. The quotation process takes less time. I talked to my supervisor just recently, and he told me that a job that took an hour and a half only takes 20 minutes now. There's more variability in the system variables. So all those user forms that I was talking about earlier, someone could input new data if they got like a new piece of equipment that optimizes the shop. And finally, more accurate pricing to the actual cost of producing these things. Because at the end of the day, you actually want to make sure your costs are minimized and you're not over budgeting or underpricing, and so on and so forth. So thanks for listening. I want to thank everyone at Van Arbor and the co-op office, and thanks for listening.